Boone, you've been talking about natural gas as an alternative now for quite a while, and I don't know why you're not making more progress. I mean, why are you're a very successful oil and gas man, and you've given it all. You spent a lot of money, you've pushed, you've done everything you possibly can to get this natural gas idea going, and it doesn't seem to be going. Why not?
Well, you know who I'm trying to work with, don't you?
Yes.
We're talking about working with Washington.
Yes.
Yeah, it is not easy up there. I mean, it is slow going, and anything can, you can think you're on track, and you can get knocked off real easy. Something else shows up that they think is more important. They don't multitask real well in Washington.
My theory about this, Boone, is that you're an oil and gas man, and the people right now in power in Washington, they're into this green energy, and you've got an alternative energy, and it's much greener than gasoline, let's say. But at the same time, it's drilling, and for some reason, drilling is a big no-no in their lexicon, and also the environmental movement looks at drilling and says, that's got to be bad. I think that's what you're running up against.
Well, I think that's correct. I think that's exactly. But I'm not opposed to renewables. Wind and solar will work. The reason why you don't have an abundance of wind and solar under construction trying to come online is because it's more expensive. And you saw what happened. The Department of Energy kind of tossed $500 million out the window. And the Department of Energy is not focused on energy for America. It's talking about energy 20, 30 years from now. And we need to do something now. We have no energy plan in this country. 40 years, no energy plan. We're the only country in the world that has no energy plan. And I'm trying to make a first step to an energy plan. But if I don't get it, I'm going to be successful anyway, because heavy-duty trucks are going to go to natural gas because it's $2 a gallon cheaper and 30% cleaner.
Well, and that brings up the marketplace. Do you need the government? I mean, we see the government. We know about all the scandals involving these Department of Energy loans for solar. So have you tried to get a Department of Energy loan? Maybe the big trucking companies would come in and try and get some sort of loan to try to convert their trucks, because especially out in California, I know that they've got even tighter rules coming on with their new cap and trade program they've got out there, and the truckers are all crying because of the cost of converting their trucks. So why aren't they able to get some of these Department of Energy loans?
Let me tell you, California is miles ahead of the rest of the United States. And they are, because they had an air quality issue. But like the Port of Los Angeles is switching over to natural gas, but $2 a gallon will cause that to happen. But I can't even, the Secretary of Energy won't even have a meeting with me to talk about natural gas. I've tried to meet with him. He doesn't have time to talk to me. It's going to happen in 8 to 10 years. You'll have natural gas on all the heavy-duty trucks. If you had the government with you, you could probably do it in 5 years.
We're sending a lot of money right now. That's the other issue. We're sending an awful lot of money to the Middle East, to countries that don't like us. You've talked about that many, many times. You see any turnaround in, what do you say, 10 years before we start slowing down on the money we're shipping to them?
Actually, we are buying less oil from OPEC than we have in the last 2 years. But we still are buying about 5 million barrels a day, which is costing us about $500 billion a year. So we still see. Let me set the table. That 90 million barrels of oil is produced globally every day. We use 20 million barrels of the 90 million. So we are using over 20% of all the oil produced. We produce 7 million barrels in the United States, and we import 13. The part that I'm concerned about, of the 13 we import, 5 of it is from OPEC. And I think buying OPEC oil, 5 million barrels of oil a day, you are paying for both sides of the war. Some of the money that you buy the oil for, that money goes in and ends up in the hands of the Taliban.
Talk about politics for a minute. You've heard your governor in Texas, Rick Perry, talk about the fact that the solution to a lot of our economic problems seems to hinge primarily, in his mind, on energy. Are you supporting him? Are you picking a candidate yet? And if we do get a change of administration in Washington, is there an opening for you to be able to go back there and start talking to them about this alternative energy, green energy, natural gas that has been your baby?
Well, I can tell you, it's all going to come down to a point where you're going to have to use our resources. Does that sound like a silly idea? Use our resources? No, it's a good idea. And we have plenty of resources in America. All of that can be developed with an energy plan. And it's going to be forced on us is what's going to happen. But you look at the Saudis. They produce as much oil, Russia and the Saudis produce about the same amount of oil, about 10 million barrels a day. But the Saudis, the King Abdullah is 86 years old, obese, and has diabetes. And that's going to change. The leadership in Saudi Arabia is going to change, I would say, soon. Okay, now what are you going to have? You've got the Iranians sitting right there in the backyard of Saudi Arabia. They're going to have plenty to say about what happens to that oil. And it's just unbelievable. Somebody said the other day, well, it'll be just like Libya. Okay, what happened in Libya? Libya only produced 1.6 million barrels a day. All of it was shut off, all of it. Now they're starting to bring it back on again. All right, what happens if that in Saudi Arabia, what if all of that was shut off? I'm telling you, you'd be looking at $400 or $500 a barrel is what you're looking at. And the economy can't stand that. And there it is. I mean, look at the players, and you can see that something is going to change in Saudi Arabia in the very near future. So get on your own resources in America. You have resources here, and you don't have to subsidize it to accomplish what I'm saying do. So I don't know. It is frustrating, and I'm 83 years old, and I've put a lot of money in this to try to explain to the American people that we have to get on our own resources. And I can tell you, I've got 1,700,000 people that have signed on with me. I have tremendous support on my website, and so we're going to get something done. I am positive that's going to happen.
All right. So for people listening, the website you had it was the Pickens Plan. Is that still the website you've got up?
That's it. Pickensplan.com. Come on board with me. And you'll never hear me talk about one thing, energy. I will not get into politics or anything else, just energy. I know the subject. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a good patriotic American, and I'm going to get an energy plan for America.
Well, we know you are. Boone Pickens, thank you very much. Always good to see you. Thanks.